Welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast with your hosts, Joshua Poniatowski and Alex Taylor. Let's talk football.
Hello, and welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast, Halloween edition. My name is Josh Van Pelt, with my freshly shaven head, and with me, Alex, the Cheshire Cat Taylor. What's going on, dude? So we're having some fun with it. Yeah, with Halloween being right around the corner, figured it'd be a good time to dress up a little bit. As always, we're doing the JSN jersey giveaway. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and you're entered into that drawing at the end of the year. GS is crushing it, and this is an autographed jersey. So this is literally, as every week goes on, what if he wins MVP this year? His jersey is going to be worth so much more at this point.
MVP. I don't know if there's a lot of other good candidates. Hey, you never know.
Right.
He's having a great year. You definitely want to frame it. But talking about Halloween, Josh, I do got a little Halloween game for you to kind of start things off this week. I didn't let Josh do any prep or anything because it's a super silly game. I'm just going to give you kind of like a Halloween prompt of sorts question. And then I just picked two random players that kind of like kept them like within against position rivals. And you just got to tell me there's no right or wrong answer. These are not fact check, just straight vibes of who you think, which player would answer this question better. Okay.
Okay. So which player would answer the question you're going to give me?
Yeah. You'll see in 2 seconds. It'll be easy. It'll be easy. Okay.
Let's see.
Who is more likely to give out the full size candy bars? Joe Flacco or Aaron Rodgers?
Okay, yeah. I mean, for sure, Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers would probably do something weird. Give like a banana with some type of note on it that said something crazy about politics. Like, yeah, definitely Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is more like candy bar vibes. I think he has multiple kids. He's got a family like that. They probably do it big. Aaron Rodgers, definitely not. He's like the weird.
I've just heard of a banana with a note before. Has that happened to you before?
I was just thinking of like, what is the weirdest thing I could get on Halloween? Like if I went to a house as a kid, like, oh yeah, here's a fruit with like some political statement on it, and I could see
banana with a note. All right. Next question: who is more likely to be in full costume while giving out their candy? Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Ooh, that's a close one. I feel like that's much closer. I envision Bijan being dressed in a full mustard costume, giving out candy.
Just like
right?
a full bottle. It's like a bottle of mustard.
A whole bottle, yeah, whole bottle of mustard. They're gonna be like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Bijan Robinson. Here's some candy and I'm a mustard bottle." Like that's what I envision coming to the front door. And imagine if that was my name, I would literally be a mustard bottle every single year.
So are you going Bijan? Gibbs?
Yeah, I'm going Bijan.
Doesn't quite have it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who is more likely to scream in a haunted house? Malik Neighbors or Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, absolutely. I could just see him going crazy and screaming and running through that thing.
A little bit more animated.
Yeah. I could see him being more animated. JJ's just cool as a cucumber, just riding through that and no care in the world. Yeah,
all right,
for sure.
All right. Who do you think has their house more extravagantly decorated? George Kittle or Travis Kelce?
That is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Kittle simply because he is married. He's past the honeymoon phase with like him. Kelce and Taylor are still figuring stuff out. They're getting married. They don't necessarily have an established resident yet. Kittle is in place. He's ready to go. He probably does it big. He's full size. His wife's
chilling. She might be going crazy at home.
Exactly. Yeah. So just because of that dynamic with their relationships right now, which is weird that we know that at any point when it comes to football stuff, right? So
I remember on that Receivers show that Kittle did, his wife, for one of his birthday parties, had the house really decorated and stuff like that. So I could see their house being pretty full blown. Okay, which coach probably hands out protein bars instead of candy? Dan Campbell or Robert Saleh?
So
couple beefcake coaches here,
For sure. I think Dan Campbell is probably like hard-nosed guy, like to the public, to his team. But then when he gets around kids or anybody else, real soft kind of guy.
Okay.
All right. He's a different personality, right? He comes out, he's great with kids. Robert Saleh, though, I just don't see it. He's handing out protein bars.
He's giving the
like,
protein.
Go lift, hit the weight room. Yeah. So But I see Dan Campbell end up being a softie, which might maybe that's unpopular opinion, but
sure,
behind the scenes, right?
I can see that.
Tough guys behind the scenes. Yeah,
I can see that. Okay, a couple more.
All right.
Player would get lost in a corn maze and have to Uber out. Jameis Winston or Kadarius Toney?
All right, so Jameis Winston would just enjoy his entire time. Like, he'd be walking through the maze and be like thinking of some philosophical meaning behind it and be like, man, this is so great. I'm just so lucky to be able to walk into this
enjoying
maze.
Savoring the process.
Yeah, enjoy it. And then you throw an interception and be like, it's all right. Just keep going. Ghost will come out, pick the ball off, and then take it for 6.
That's how he gets out. He throws an interception to a ghost, and then he follows them. He follows them. That's,
So, but yeah, Kadarius Toney, for sure, if he knows how to work a phone, he would definitely call an Uber to get out of that maze. He's not figuring it out.
Okay, last one. Which player definitely TP'd some houses before? And for any younger kids out there, TP, throwing the toilet paper up and over a house or a tree, creating a whole mess. It's the trick part of the trick-or-treating. So which player definitely TP'd some houses? Baker Mayfield or Jackson Dart?
Both. Absolutely both. Baker for sure did it. He was a menace. Jackson Dart looks like a menace right now. Like, Jackson Dart is probably TPing this Halloween. Like, he's already got it scheduled up. Like, he's going to be pushing Cam in a wheelchair down the road, and they're going to be egging cars and, TPing houses. I fully see that. They actually might do a Halloween costume of him being Forrest and Scat being Uncle Dan, or who is it?
Lieutenant Dan.
Like, I could 100,000% see them doing that this year as their Halloween.
That'd be good.
Setup. So
that'd be good.
Both of them, but Dart more recently because he's doing it this Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
This Halloween.
This Friday.
Yeah. This Friday. Yeah, Friday. So.
All right, that's that into my game. You did well. Your vibes were pretty spot on what I was thinking.
Crushed it. I feel like those are good vibes. Those are good questions. All right, well. Now we're going to move over to the maybe not as exciting stuff, but we're going to talk about the data. I love data dump stuff. So we'll do this quickly. Yes, football, which is why we're here talking about football. Over the past 3 weeks, since Joe Flacco has taken over, Jamar Chase has seen 53 targets in the past 3 weeks. The next closest was Ladd McConkey at 33, then Chris Olave at 29, and then Rashid Shaheed at 27, which was kind of shocking to see.
That is shocking.
There at the top, but
they're always losing.
That very, very valid, but both of them, right? So 20 plus targets though. Flacco is just like, all right, I know I got Jamar Chase. Let me just line them up. That's all that matters. Also, over the past 3 weeks, Kimani Vidal has seen 50 rushing attempts, which is number 3 in the NFL. I just want to apologize because I totally missed this one early on. I thought it'd be a committee by back. So lesson learned, go with the young guy, up and comer, versus the vet who really hasn't done much. This week versus Houston, the Niners had the ball on offense for only 5 minutes and 29 seconds in the first half. I was texting one of my buddies, like, why? What is happening right now with the Niners? It was bad.
Yeah, that was one of the more surprising games of the weekend. A lot of blowouts this weekend too. I don't know if you were paying attention. It was like every game was like 30-5. It was like, what's happening?
I think the best game on TV around that 1 o'clock segment was the Jets versus Cinci,
Bengals,
right?
Bengals, but only at the end. It was at the first half. You're like, oh, Bengals are spanking them.
3 weeks from there, yeah. Like what? Like where did
Justin Fields? He needed it, but
he did.
I guess not really. But he still probably deserves to be benched. But you're happy for him.
Raiders, so this is not necessarily this week data, but like looking ahead to week 9, I thought it'd be good to include some of this stuff for, deciding start sits. But Raiders play Jacksonville in week 9. Jacksonville plays a zone at 76% rate, which is top in the league. They run one high safety 45% of the time. Brock Bowers, who has been injured, he's been doing a whole lot of nothing for the past couple weeks. He is the best on the Raiders team against zone with 2.25 yards per out run and 3.3 yards per out run versus one high safeties. Tre Tucker is number 2. So maybe we see a bounce back game from Brock and maybe some upside with Tucker this week.
I'm hoping. As long as he just plays, I'm happy.
Chicago's offensive line is allowing 2.61 yards before contact to runners. So they're doing it. Cincinnati's defense is allowing 2.62 yards before contact to runners. This is a DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai stat for the matchup for Week 9. So.
As much as I love Monangai, and you know this, Swift is still getting the lion's share here. He's still not really startable yet, but one day.
Maybe the matchup. You never know. And then just a couple news to know. We're not going to talk about these major, but I wanted to bring them up because we've talked about Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, but Dave Canales came out and indicated that Rico should be getting more opportunities over Chuba. He kind of said in a cryptic message kind of way. Shout out to us because we nailed this. Rico, again, ride the hot hand. You're winning games. Yeah. You want to play the best player on the field. He gave Chuba an option because he's the captain, but it seemed like they're going to be rolling Rico out more. We'll see if he lies to us or not, but that was the indication in the media when he said that.
I was a little desperate last week with buys, and I actually started both of them on the same team.
Okay.
No, it did not work out well. Neither of them had a good. It was worse. I need one of them out of there.
Yeah. It was, again, it's that 50-50 time split. It's the killer. Historically, rookies start to see more usage. This isn't a secret. Like, everybody knows this. But around this point of the season, second half of the season, we've seen it with Kyron Williams, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, BTJ last year, and the list just goes on and on and on. If you believe in a rookie, there's a rookie that you believe in, that you've been eyeing, these next couple weeks are where you want to, if you have room, stash some rookies that you like, because this is where their usage starts to uptick and they potentially have that upside. Stash the rookie that you've been eyeing.
Speaking of rookies, what about Andy Dalton just peppering Tedera McMillan all game? That was nice. I mean, his career high 7 receptions.
He had, I think it was a 56%. He had 56% of the team's yards, I think it was. I was like, looking when I was doing the data dump. Something 10
insane targets, like 7 catches, 99 yards.
So
I needed that, and then Bryce Young's going to come back and he'll regress. But Josh, what about the fact that Johnathan Taylor just continues to be a dominating force? He just had his 4th 3-touchdown game of the season. He's the highest scoring fantasy player across all positions, across all the quarterbacks. Mahomes. He's on a 17-game pace for 2,200 all-purpose yards and almost 3 touchdowns. That would put him right around 430 fantasy points, 95 higher than Saquon did last year. Josh, he's clearly the fantasy MVP of the first half of the season. If he keeps up this pace, is there a chance he can actually win the real MVP award instead of a QB? We haven't had a running back since Adrian Peterson in 2012.
Going back first, running back wins championships. I just like to throw that out there, like I said many, many moons ago. But in 2024, talking about Saquon, he had 2,200 all-purpose yards, 15 touchdowns. On the voting for the MVP, he only got 120 points, which was like 23% of all the points that he could get. He wasn't even close to breaking the quarterbacks. He got 0 first-place votes, 1 second-place votes, and all the other votes were 3rd, 4th, and 5th. With that said, JT has 14 touchdowns right now, and Saquon had 15 on the year, which is just absolutely bonkers. The thing is, he is competing with Drake May, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, your boy Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford. Let me ask you a question. So we're talking about most valuable player, right? If Daniel Jones was to be injured, or if Johnathan Taylor was to be injured on the Colts, who do you think is the more valuable asset for them to be successful moving forward as a team?
Who's the backup in Indy? Who's their backup quarterback? Anthony Richardson. Oh, God. Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be rough. They would probably immediately collapse.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know. That's tough. So I guess maybe Daniel Jones, but
just so when we talk about most valuable player, right? He's not even
better backup. It's it's like a war in baseball. Win above replacement. It's like if the replacement was anyone decent.
So
yeah,
he's just not.
It's fun.
Not even the most valuable player.
It's boring when it's always the quarterback.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. I agree.
Just make it a separate award. Make it the best quarterback in the league award.
Moving over to the Chargers, Gordon Gagseden is the belle of the ball this week, okay? After his 150-yard game performance, people picked him up off waivers, started him in their lineup, had 5 receptions, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. You're feeling great, all right? So before I give you the question I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you some data. I'm going to go through some data. First 4 weeks of the season, Quentin Johnson, wide receiver 4, Keenan Allen, wide receiver 13, Ladd McConkey, wide receiver 56, and Gadsden was equivalent to wide receiver 100. Over the next 4 weeks of the season, Ladd McConkey was wide receiver 5. Keenan Allen was wide receiver 17. Quentin Johnson, wide receiver 78. And Gagseden, equivalent to wide receiver 10. Now, Alex, is Gagseden going to be consistent as Keenan Allen from a receptions point? Or, like, is he just the flavor of this month? Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, you probably definitely got to start him if you got him. I mean, possibly even as a flex, depending on how your team dynamic is.
I see the argument for that.
I mean, he did see his targets dip. He only had 5 this week. Luckily, he caught all 5, so he still kind of delivered that nice game for you. So I think there will be just games where the ball just doesn't find its way to him due to all the other options. I did see a cool stat, though, on him. He's only the 3rd rookie tight end since 1970 to have a 3-game stretch where he gained over 300 total yards. The others were Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers. So kind of mixed company with that stat. But, you know,
very mixed company.
Still pretty cool. Happy for him.
Yeah.
Man, another big storyline. I mean, obviously, everyone saw Skattebo go down this week. We got to pour one out for our boy. Really sad to see. Really graphic injury. I looked away really quick. I was like, Tracy came in, saw 13 opportunities after Scott left the game, and he figures to be the main starting RB for the rest of the season. This is a guy who did score in the double digits in 7 of the last 13 games last season once he kind of took the reins. I mean, you know, didn't really start that way at the beginning. So, I mean, he kind of figures to be a locked-in low RB2 probably the rest of the season. Considering he's probably on your waivers, I think he deserves most of your FAAB, if not at least like a 50% bid. What do you think, Josh?
Based on how much FAAB I had, I would probably drop 100% on him, no questions asked. It's based on team need, but the reason why, and actually before you do that, if you're playing in a league with FAAB dollars, first, look at every other person on your roster or on playing
in your
against
league.
Yeah, in your league, and see what is the max bid somebody can do. If people have been spending their FAAB and the max is 40 and you have 60, you don't need to drop 60, right? You drop 41. Be smart with your FAAB dollars before just throwing the highest bid out there.
The problem is, you know, us and anyone listening to us, like they're engaged, active managers, and there's always which you hope they are. But in every league, there's always like 1 or 2 guys who just haven't touched their FAAB the entire year. They're sitting there with 100 stack, and you kind of are assuming they probably won't spend it now. But what if they do?
Maybe.
What if they do?
Yeah, that's very valid. But yeah, there's a handful in the league that me and you are in that I just got a gross amount of money. The reason why I'm so high on this, though, is because last year, the Giants just sucked. They went from week 7 on, they averaged 16 points a game, 280 yards. This is basically the Titans. They were essentially the Titans. Since Dart has taken over, though, the Giants have averaged 20. They have averaged 24 points, 310 yards a game. Drastic difference from 2024. This makes Tracy even more interesting to me because if he was able to do what he was doing before on essentially a terrible Titans team, now he has an offense. He's got a quarterback. Like, they're moving the ball. They're scoring points. This elevates him for me. And again, running back 2, let's not get too crazy. Low-end running back 2 range. But still, a great player to have on your team as a running back, especially when running backs are so scarce. The quarterback benchings have really been flying around lately. The newest was being Spencer Rattler in New Orleans. The Saints just decided, I think it was 3rd quarter, they turned to rookie Tyler Shough. It was only about half a game, but Olave saw 4 catches, 6 targets. We should get the answers on Kamara being kind of left out of the receiving game. More on Rattler, or is this Kellen Moore? Like
you've been saying Kellen Moore all season.
I have
been blaming it on Moore.
So we're gonna find out. He is going up against, unfortunately, the Rams this week for his first start. They're allowing 3rd least points per game and have 10 takeaways on the year. So Alex, does Shough give them any sort of boost for the Saints playmakers? What are you thinking about it?
I mean, probably not. Not really. Not like worse. It was not probably much better. I mean, he only completed 17 of 30 for 128, scoreless yards. Olave already is still just his decent floor in a full PPR play for me. He probably doesn't really go above that at all. I do have my one stock of Kamara that I do have to start this week due to buys. So this is basically his last chance. It's okay, new leaf, turn over new leaf. Can you get some receiving work to help boost your stat line? Otherwise, I'm probably done with him.
Hypothetical here. Do you know if Tracy's on waivers in that league at all?
I don't know.
Check right now.
In that particular one, I'll have to check.
So hypothetically, let's say he's on waivers. You go to your teams and you see, all right, the highest amount that somebody has is $55. You maybe got 30. Would you hypothetically be willing to trade Kamara for $35? Trade Kamara before waivers process. Yeah, this is how my mind thinks, bro.
Wow.
So trade Kamara before waivers process to somebody who will pay 40 FAAB, 50 FAAB. Then you come back around, you add Tyron Tracy. You know you're going to get him because you have the most FAAB dollars, and essentially he replaces him as your running back too for the week. What are you feeling? Who do you value more in this situation?
This is, well, it's opening up a new question. I mean, I would say I would probably value Tracy more between the two. I just have another question. I don't know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Are you able to trade for more FAAB than what the original starting point is? Or is there like a ceiling? Like in Sleeper, if you have 100 FAAB, can you trade and get like to like 120 FAAB?
I think you can go over, yes.
Okay.
Because you know I'm a sucker for FAAB. I think I went over. Yeah.
That, you know?
I agree. But it was that week 2 when we made that FAAB deal or whatever. I think I was over whatever the cap was like that early on. Yeah, I think you can. But either way, like, right, if you're in a situation where you're like, all right, there's a guy on waivers I really like.
Yeah.
Maybe you trade a player that you're lower on that people might be higher on for FAAB just to make sure you get that locked-in player. I've probably given away too much, and now Alex has my strategy.
The gears are spinning. I was like, I never thought of that before.
This, again, I lose my tactical advantage by doing these, so y'all better appreciate it. But
Josh, there has been a lot of chatter I've been seeing on the interwebs about the Titans possibly trading away Tony Pollard. This could make one Pollard maybe like a buy low candidate, depending on where he ends up, and could also make Tyjae Spears possibly, an actual starting running back in the NFL. Now, Josh, I know you have a very firm 0 Titans policy. But for a chance at a starting RB, there's only 32 of these guys in the world. Would you consider rostering him?
All right, so before I get into that public service announcement, don't start any Titans players. I do not care. The Titans are averaging 13.8 points per game, 32nd in the entire NFL. 248 yards per game, also 32nd in the entire NFL.
Not great.
Titan players. No, they bring you literally 0 upside every single week. Trade them for FAAB or anything you can get. I did a deeper dive. That's baseline data. Like, how bad is it for the Titans? Over the past 8 weeks in half PPR scoring, including Cam Ward, thank you very much, every other skill position player, including Cam Ward, their team has scored over 10 points 11 times. Only 11 times over 8 weeks between every single player on their team. 2 times have they broken 15 points. 0 times have they broken 16 points. When we talk about floor, no upside, the Titans absolutely. And their kicker, I was like, all right, who's their highest scoring? It's their kicker, essentially.
Oh, of course.
On a point-per-game basis, their kicker is scoring more than every other person. But if you believe Tony Pollard is going to be traded, roster him, hold on to him. If you desperately need a running back, I guess Tyjae Spears is a warm body. But if I had him, I am trying to trade him for literally anything else that I could get. Again, FAAB dollars, picking up Tyron Tracy. That would be my thought process if I had Tyjae Spears. Or you could add him too.
Fair.
All right, enough of the Titans talk. Quinshon Judkins went down, and he might just be out through the bye week. We don't know yet. Saquon Barkley also, I don't know if you saw, he was running. It literally looked like his hammy popped, and he just pulled up real quick. They also mentioned
it's a little dramatic.
Looked like a pop to me. But yeah, they said it wasn't that bad. So both these guys should be coming back after the week 9 bye. However, is Dalen Sampson or Tanks Bigsby worth rostering through the bye if you need running back help, and maybe is like a safe bet just in case? What do you think?
Looking closely ahead, and obviously if either of them are out missing significant time, it's different. But just looking a couple weeks ahead, for Bigsby, it's bye week, then Packers and Lions. Both are top 4 in the least rushing yards given up per game. So he's just not something I'm really trying to dip into. Obviously, unless you're just
excited about
praying that Barkley ends up missing significant time. Samson, on the other hand, it's bye, then Jets and Ravens. Those are both top 10 in the most rushing yards given up per game. And he has 20 catches on the season. That's tied for 15th among among RBs. So he at least has like some facet of the game that he's kind of carving out a role for himself, regardless of whether or not Judkins coming back. So between those two, I would probably go for Samson.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Samson's probably the guy. I didn't realize Bigsby's schedule was that tough, and you'd imagine even through the next 2 or 3 weeks, Saquon should be back if it is a little bit more serious by that point.
Talking about another running back, Isiah Pacheco is considered day-to-day due to an injury on Monday night, which elevates Kareem Hunt and Breshard Smith. If he is out, no official notice yet. Who would be the guy of those two that you would target and like?
I guess it probably depends kind of on your situation. Hunt probably offers the safer floor. Obviously, he's getting more work, more goal line work. We just had just coming off a 2-touchdown game. So you're obviously more confident in Hunt. Breshard, I think, is a little more of a wild card. He kind of was a disappointment this week. He had 19 opportunities in the game against Las Vegas, and then all of a sudden you only saw the ball 3 times in a blowout win when you'd think they would be just running the ball with third back there, but he just didn't really get that many chances. So I do think has more potential for upside, but Hunt definitely has a safer floor.
All right, well, we're going to move over to buy low, sell high. These are guys that we think y'all should be trading for and are being either under or overvalued. All right, who you got for us first, Alex?
I'm looking at Zay Flowers. I mean, the Lamar Jackson situation was really sketchy this last week. Is he starting, not starting? Everyone's really, all the gamblers are really pissed off. A bunch of prop lines got screwed. But assuming he comes back this week, I think Zay Flowers gets a really nice boost. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 1. He also hasn't scored more than 12 points in half PPR since week 1. He's sitting at only wide receiver 27 on the season. His value is pretty suppressed right now. But he is at a whopping 30.7 team target share on the season. That is good for 4th most in the league. Looking back 5 years, every player that was over 30% team target share finished at least as a top 12 wide receiver, and a lot of them were in the top 5.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I've been trying to buy Zay Flowers for the past couple weeks. When Lamar comes back, he should see a huge increase. Their defense also, again, we know hasn't been amazing. This is an easy buy opportunity. I couldn't agree more with you on that. All right, my guys, I have 2 49ers, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, both of them, throwing them in there. Kittle threw a dud first week back, and then he honestly had a mild performance for tight ends week, I'd say.
He was doing nothing before that.
Yeah. The Niners had literally, we talked about this, only had the ball for the total game, 18 minutes, the entire game. They won't be facing a good Houston secondary every single week. In the fantasy playoff, the Niners get the Titans, the Colts, and the Bears, who are number 9, number 3, and number 14 to fantasy pass catchers. Kittle is a top 3 tight end rest of season. Personally, that's what I think. But I don't think people are viewing him that way. So you can get him at a discount if you need a tight end. As far as Ricky Pearsall goes, in his 4 games that he was healthy, he averaged 5 receptions, 7 targets, and 81 yards a game. If Brock Purdy ever freaking returns, the Niners should get an immediate ejection at some point in the season. Might not be this week or next week, but it's going to happen, and they're going to be very valuable riding into the playoffs. So I like both these guys to buy.
Yeah, what's been going on with Purdy? He just kind of can't come back. It's like every week they're hyping it up, and then
toe. Yeah, it's all right. Sorry, he's getting healthy. We need him healthy. That's all that's important. Drop 1 or 2 here.
Switching over to sell highs this week. I know you're going to hate this, Josh, but I think it might be time to trade off RJ Harvey if you got him.
How dare you?
There are a lot of managers desperate for RBs this week. A lot of injuries, a lot of buys going on. Yeah. So people are looking for quality RBs, and there's RJ Harvey looking juicy coming off a 3-touchdown game.
3 tutties.
Those points touchdowns are exciting. But he did that on only 8 opportunities and only saw 27% of snaps. J.K. Dobbins still saw 17 opportunities, hit his season high in yards at 121. So the path forward is still bleak. But even if he did wrangle the starting job from J.K. Dobbins, the Denver fantasy playoff schedule is rough. They have Green Bay, Jacksonville, Kansas City. All are in the top 11 in rushing defenses in the league. So I just think now it's time to trade him away while the hype could not be better.
Yeah, I get it. If you can get something for him, I understand it. It's still hard to say because, God, that offensive line is so good. And RJ Harvey, literally the only thing that you can bank on at this point is the J.K. Dobbins injury. And we don't like doing that. I understand the sell high. All right, well, I'm going to say something that I don't think people will like either on this one, specifically Nicholas. I don't think he'll like this. Sell Gagseden. Sell Jordan Gagseden. Sell the tight end.
It's
the
Oronde,
hype
but
is Oronde, whatever it is.
I'm not
Sell
sure.
that man. The hype is through the roof. Like everybody is just
very
gushing
hype
over this dude.
Yeah.
The production is absolutely perfect to cash in on this man. We talked a lot about the Chargers today, and what I did is I did a deep dive on the advanced analytics, targets per route run, first read target share, and team target share. It just doesn't seem sustainable because it hasn't been that great, to be honest. He's just been really efficient with the opportunities that he's getting. I don't think he's going to be consistent every game. There's 4 pass catchers on that team. We just saw the 4-week cycle that I broke out. There's going to be somebody losing every single week, and I don't think he's going to win every week. As far as efficiency goes, over the past 3 weeks, he has been top 3 in the NFL, above 3 yards per out run. I would be trying to send a 2-for-1 for McBride, or even offer him straight up for Warren, Kittle, to see what happens, and maybe even take Ferguson over him. Maybe you got to throw it out. The hype is there. Yeah. The hype is there. So throw it out.
Really got a package.
Maybe try to get an
situation.
Yeah, maybe a small 2-for-1. You throw in Tony Pollard, them thinking like that's something, or Tyjae Spears, or any of the Titans players included in that, and they think they're getting something in return. But also, it doesn't have to be a tight end. You can upgrade any position, right? Because you probably got him off waivers. You added from FAAB dollars. I just think he's worth selling where he's at this peak. Granted, I will say probably tight end 5 rest of the season. So, yeah. I will say that. Probably tight end 7. Tight end 7. 7
like
to
I mentioned,
5,
he only had 5 targets last week, but he's still turning in a tight end 4 result, which is just not really sustainable. So
tight end 7, 5, yeah. So he's not upper echelon that everybody's making him out to be. At least not yet, anyway.
Yeah, Nick.
All right. Well, since we send these out on Wednesday, we're just gonna kind of squash the waiver wires that we usually do. We talked about some guys that we like though within our discussion. If you want us to bring that back, or you have questions about waivers, just let us know. But since it's going out Wednesday, just makes more sense to remove that. And again, we just appreciate all y'all listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to give us a like and subscribe, that would be great. But if not, we just like y'all being here and listening. And as always, we want you to go steal a championship. We'll see y'all later.
And go eat some candy. Peace.